What's up, guys? It's a beautiful morning here in Savannah, Georgia, where I'm here at Genesis of Savannah with this brand new 2021 G90, the flagship sedan from Genesis. Now today I'm going to take you on the tour of this vehicle. We're going to explore the exterior, interior. We're going to jump inside, play with some interesting features of it, pop the hood, see what powers up this thing. Finally, at the very end, we're going to go for a spin. So if this is the first time we meet, my name is Matt Samolski. I'm Matt the Car Guy, and in this channel we do car reviews. So if you're ready, let's go. Well, so right from the beginning, when Genesis started, they were aiming really high as far as what they're going to compete against. So when you've seen the commercials, they definitely went after Lexus and Mercedes-Benz as serious. So in today's video, we're going to check it out if it really can compete or compare to such an icons like a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, which I've done several of them in the past, so I have a pretty good idea of what they are. And we're going to start right in the beginning, right in the front of this vehicle. And the first thing that you notice is this massive grille right here. That's a lot of bling. It's chromed out, it's mesh grille, and I had a discussion with my wife not too long about it, and she said it does look like a chain link fence that's chromed out. And she might be right. Some people like it, some people hate it. It wouldn't be my first choice of grills if I look at the vehicles, but it really doesn't bother me as much, and especially I would probably black it out or smoke it out. It would look better. Now right above here you can see those Genesis wings, that logo that kind of floats and leaves a mark on the hood, leaves like that indentation behind it. Kind of, it looks like it swoops through the hood, stops right in the beginning in here, and also the hood is massive. Now there's two engine choices that are available on the G90 for, you know, this here. It's a 3.3 liter, which is this one right here. They also have the 5.0 liter V8. Now, as far as the hood, it looks pretty nice. It looks big, it looks stately, okay, and it ends up right here with those nice, beautiful lights. I really like the design of these lights. I really like that line that LED daytime running lights turns into the turn signal right here, that kind of breaks the lights, the top and the bottom portion. Then you have the four wheel lights right inside of here and here. At the bottom, nothing too crazy, a little bit of a lip spoiler, and this is open. There's a lot of air that can get inside of this engine to cool it down, which is a nice feature. I wish it would have a little bit more opening, some maybe fancier design right in this section in here, also to allow for cooling off the wheels and the brakes. But overall, not a bad looking front end. Let's pop the hood, let's see what's underneath it. Alrighty, so what we have underneath the hood, there's two engine choices. First one is this one right here, 3.3 turbocharged or twin turbocharged engine, 365 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque, made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. When you look at this engine bay, there's nothing too crazy in here, but it is clean, it's nice. It does have the Turbo GDI Genesis logo right here. You do have some braces right on both sides to help with the rigidity and handling of the vehicle. And you also have some nice sound insulation in here, as well as hood struts that hold up this hood nice and tight. So I'm really curious how it drives. Now, I'm more of a V8 type of person, but we'll see how that V6 handles. Well, when you look at the side view of this vehicle, it is a large sedan. There's no question about it. It's 205 inches long, which is just a few inches shorter of the Mercedes-Benz S-Series. The S580, it's 208, and with the extended long wheel version, it's 215. So just a little bit shorter than that, but almost just as big as the Mercedes-Benz or BMW. Now, when you look at the front end, I really like this design right here. Now, check this out. I'm gonna press this so you can see that those daytime running lights turn into the turn signals right here. But this is not the only turn signal. You do have a continuation of it right here, light further on within the fender. This is probably about 15 inches long, probably one of the largest turn signals that I've seen. And it's incorporated with this chrome looking trim in here, which, you know, it's not really functional because it's all covered, but it looks kind of like that air exhaust or heat exhaust from inside of the vehicle. Now, this particular one is equipped with the 19-inch wheels. I like the design of it. There's another one that also is available on the G90, which I like even more, but this is not bad. This is probably one of the top wheel designs that I've seen. As far as the side of it, a lot of people say, hey, you can see the influences from other manufacturers, and they might be right, but I think Genesis just, you know, did it their own way. And if you look at any vehicle at any time, you can find influences from other brands. I mean, what else can you do to a vehicle, right? So you can see a little bit maybe from the Volvo up front, that back end kind of the BMW, but you know what, I think it's their own style. Now, if you look at the doors, okay, the rear door is a little bit larger than the front door, and that's because a lot of those large sedans are made with the driver and especially with the passengers in mind, because a lot of people like to be driven in those. And we'll jump in and see what hides in the second row seat, in the back seat, because there's some cool features in there. But going back to the outside, you can see those lights wrap around, and we're gonna go right there. Okay, so let's check out the rear end of this Genesis G90. I gotta tell you, if you look in the back end here, first of all, the shark fin antenna, nicely sloped rear glass in here, and you do have those signature lights. Now, the Genesis for this year, every model that they produce right now, because they just redesigned the G70, has those split lights. They're dual lights, basically. The top and the bottom portion of it serve the same purpose. Now, the G90, you know, also have these lights that go all the way across the trunk, right? And they're illuminate as well, so you can turn them on. They're actually, you can't see them right now because of the sun, but this portion actually illuminates. It's not just a reflector light, which is awesome. The G90 right on the side in here, Genesis spelled out in here. You do have the rear view camera, which is right here underneath this built-in spoiler into the trunk lid. And then at the very bottom of it, you have the reverse lights in here, reflector lights, and then you do have the two exhaust. Now, those are real exhaust tips, so this is pretty interesting. And then you do have a little bit of that piano black trim in here. Now, they also have, which is interesting, a button to open up the trunk that's really not hidden, that's in plain sight, and you just press it and release the trunk open. And let's see how much luggage we can put in here. So you do have quite a bit of room inside of this Genesis, and it does even come with the cargo mat, with the trunk mat, so you have a floor mat for your trunk. What hides underneath here? It's basically the tools to remove your tire, and tire is actually right underneath here. So it does have a spare tire, and that's where also one of the batteries hides, right in here. And the seats, you do have a little bit of pass-through, and I believe it folds down as one piece only. What else do we have in here? There you go. We've seen that on the Mercedes-Benz, those hooks right here. You can put some groceries in here so they don't fly around. And also you do have the emergency fuel filler door manual handle release, so in case, you know, it gets stuck for some reason, you can just pull it, release it, hopefully be able to fill that up. So that's the trunk of it. Let's see the interior. Well, I gotta tell you, this is nice and comfortable. Tons of room, and I purposely chose this seat because that's where most people who are driven are gonna be sitting, not behind the driver. Not that there is much less room, because there's plenty of room behind the driver's seat, but that's where I would want to be if I were to be driven. And I gotta tell you, there's some beautiful features of this interior, and I want you to take a look at this with me. So come on in. All right, well, let's check this out. Let's check the rear door, because I gotta tell you, it's very nicely appointed in here. You can see the combination of wood, two different colors of leather. You have the aluminum, you have the speaker right here. It's Lexicon stereo, 17 speaker total in this vehicle. And I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with this interior of it. So let's close the door and let's see what else is inside of here. Close the door right here. Right, so now we're on the inside, and I gotta tell you, this is probably one of the nicest interiors. Now, I've sat in some luxury, ultra luxury cars. I just recently reviewed the Rolls-Royce Ghost, which is probably the ultimate ultra luxury vehicle, but we're talking about 7 times more or 6 times more than the vehicle that we're sitting in right now. So I want to kind of give you a glimpse of this interior of the back seat in here and see how nice they are. So Napa leather, nicely embroidered, kind of the diamond quilted leather in here, which is really, really nice. It does have the Genesis logo embossed in the headrest right inside of here. Now, you don't have the refrigerator. I'm sorry to disappoint you if that's what you were looking for, but you do have a pass-through, and then you have this massive console with some cool buttons on it, and we're going to check it out what they do in just a second. But let's stay in here, and one of the buttons, what we can do is we can lower and raise the rear sunshade in here, which is awesome. And also what you can do is you have a sunshade on the doors, both doors, rear doors, and you can lower it, okay, including this little window right there from either one of the doors, which is pretty cool. But okay, that's why this is a vehicle that has the driver, which is a pretty cool cockpit right there, and the passenger in mind, because this seat right here, okay, if this is too close for you, you can move it 2 ways. You can ask the driver to move it, and the driver doesn't have to really lean far, because there's 2 buttons right here to move the seat and recline it. Or if you want to do it yourself, this is to move the seat forward. See how it moves forward right now? You can move it all the way, and that increases your leg room quite a bit. Not only that, by using this button right here on the other side, you can push the recliner forward all the way. So if you really wanted to stretch your legs, like this for example, there you go. Wow, this is awesome. You know, I can travel in style like this. Absolutely. Okay, so what else do we have in this console right in here? Now, before you say that, hey, Matt, you never showed the cup holders in the back. Well, there you go. For those of you that are cup holder sticklers, you do have 2 that come out of this console right here. And then in the front console, there is basically a vent for the air conditioning, and then you have 2 12-volt power outlets. What else? Cool buttons in the back. Okay, you can turn on the air conditioning. Actually, this is why it's so hot, because I didn't have it cranked up high enough. And then you can change your temperature in here. Now it's at low, so we can keep it at this. Now you also have this. These are the seat controls that I was showing you, and you also have the controls for the heated seats in both driver and passenger. And then you can lower and raise that the rear sunshade in the rear window right there. So there's a controller right here, and that's interesting because with the Ultimate package you can get 2 screens mounted on the seat backs. Unfortunately, we don't have it here, but there's also a controller here that can turn on your radio. Okay,
From your teams, your favorite music, commercial free, and
right there.
personalities like Howard Stern. No matter where you live, unlock it all.
You can turn off the display if you don't want the driver to see anything. Turn on the display, turn off the display. You can mute the sound, and you can select the radio station, media, channel, etc. So you're in control of the infotainment system as far as the media is concerned. Now, this is a pretty decent controller right here. However, I gotta tell you, when you look at the ultra high-end vehicles, now this feels a lot more expensive, feels a lot more solid, a lot more real. Just not that this one is really cheap, but you know, that's where probably some of the cost cutting is. Now, as far as the rest of this console right here, you have this embossed Genesis logo, storage compartment with an additional USB and a 12-volt outlet. And I gotta raise this up a little bit, because guess what? You actually can raise this if you'd like to, but I want to give you a close-up of this wood, because that wood can compete with the best of them. All right, love that. It's not shiny, there's not too much of that piano black, and guess what? If you decide to move this console out of the way, you can have a third person sit in here, because you do have 3 seat belts in the back. All right, before we move to the front, I got to show you the top of this, okay, because this looks like this Alcantara headliner, which it is, and I love the color combination, this kind of rusty brown. I couldn't find it on the sticker what the name of this color is, but this rusty brown color with the brown headliner. You see you have the regular sunroof up on top, and then what we're gonna do next is I'm actually gonna jump right in this driver's seat and see where the magic happens. Okay, as always, let's check out the sound of the door. Boom, nice, perfect, solid. I'd give it probably 10 out of 10. Okay, the key I have in my pocket, that's why it's making all this noise, say, hey, the key is not in the vehicle. So what do we have on the side? We've seen it on the back, so I'm not gonna show you all of the features, but I'm gonna concentrate in here. As far as the memory seats, you have the seat 1, seat 2, and smart. I'll show you what that is, remember the location of it. And then, see, there you go. This is why the driver needs to have control of the seat right next to it, because if a passenger just leaves it like this, then there's a problem. Look how many controls you have for the driver's seats. Okay, you have the lumbar support, you have the front knee support right here, it comes out. Okay, wow, I'm gonna play around with it. I wonder if it does have a massage feature in here. Genesis logo right at the bottom of here, and when you look to the left of the steering wheel, you do have your lane keep assist, you have your blind spot assist, you have your traction control, you can turn that on and off, and you have the trunk opener, gas tank emergency, or the electronic parking brake. And check this out, this wood trim is absolutely amazing. Now on the inside of this Genesis, while on the exterior you can say that it's got the influences from other brands, this one, it's an interior of its own, and I really like the way that they design, they incorporate the wood, the leather, and you know, you have the leather wrapped dashboard, you have this nice one of the 17 speakers of that Lexington stereo in here, you do have the head-up display right in here, you do have the 12.3-inch display for the infotainment system. The wood I already told you I love, and you know, those trims right here, aluminum looking trims. Now this is one of the things that differentiates a lot of the high-end stuff with the from the Genesis. They look cold, but when you touch them, they don't have this cold aluminum feel to it, so their plastic basically look like aluminum. A lot of hard buttons right at the bottom kind of look like from Hyundai Santa Fe, from Hyundai Palisade, so they probably use the same hardware for all of the vehicles. And I absolutely love this part right here, that wood. Okay, I'd much rather have this than the piano black, this controller in here. So let's start playing around with some of these features. We'll start with the steering wheel, multifunction steering wheel. Again, you know, this is not to complain, because this vehicle is definitely like almost $50,000 less than comparably equipped Mercedes-Benz, but you do see some cost savings by using probably a little bit of the cheaper plastics than, you know, on the really high-end models. But you do have the Genesis logo, you do have the mode. This is basically for your volume control, tracks, etc. So media on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side you can control your cruise control, as well what's going on in the instrument cluster. Now before we get to it, okay, very small pedal shifter, so they're not very distinguished, and they're also plastic, so they don't have this nice and cold feel to it. As far as the instrument cluster, they went with analog displays for the tachometer and the speedometer. Now, were they able to incorporate my favorite feature of the vehicle? Sure they were. Turn the turn signals, turns on the right camera. If you turn the turn signal right, and it shows you right in the middle of here of what's going on in your blind spot. You do the same to the left, and it turns on the left camera. So absolutely amazing feature of that. And then you have other options that you can customize as far as this middle of the screen. And you can see that there is compass right here, tire pressure, speedometer, and stuff like this. But in the middle of here, that 12-inch, 12.3-inch display, that's basically the same as Mercedes-Benz. Not the newest one, because the newest one's got the larger one and it's got the horizontal display, but like the older Mercedes-Benz MBUX. Start and stop button right here. This we've seen at other Genesis before, so let's look at the home menu first, and let's see what's going on in here. So as far as the interface, this is kind of more of a Austin and Bentley than Mercedes. It does have nice visible icons, and you can see map, navigation menu, Sirius XM, media, phone projection, sounds of nature, and then connected services, climate, voice memo. Pretty cool. Let's record one for the new owner of the vehicle. Congratulations! You are getting a really, really nice vehicle. Again, congratulations from Matt the Carguy. Setup, okay, so you do have vehicle navigation, sound, Bluetooth, several different options that you can set up. We've seen this actually display before, and what's pretty cool about this, sounds of nature, so we can see that Lexington stereo. We can hear some of that. Okay, don't play that if you have to go to the bathroom, but the stereo sounds really, really nice. And then, I always like the map on these, okay, and this is a split screen. You can have, you can press this and hide it if you'd like to. Like right now is a split between the climate control and the navigation. You can have it all screen 2 navigation system if you'd like to. Big map, nice display. I really like that, and I really like that it's a split screen too, which is pretty cool. You also have the hard buttons right here. One thing to mention too, on the high-end Mercedes, you have the high-end clock and watch. This one looks pretty cool, but it kind of like getting a Timex versus Rolex, and it is a Genesis brand watch or clock. I'm sure it's nice, but it just doesn't have that prestige that comes with it. So you have your volume control in here, you have your shortcut buttons for map, navigation, radio, media, etc. You do have your temperature control right here, as well as the climate control settings in here. What's nice about this, it does have the regular gear shifter, and it's kind of cool. I mean, there's nothing too crazy about it. It looks semi-luxurious. Okay, it feels good to the touch though. What happens when you put it in reverse? So I want to check out the rear view camera. It does have the 360 high resolution, really nice camera. Okay, it does have the trajectory lines front, it does have the trajectory lines in the back, which is really, really nice. Then you have a couple different options to look at the camera, okay, including if you want to see how your wheels look like. This is your rear wheels, so they don't move. You have your front camera. I want to see my front camera and see how my front wheels look. And here, okay, we're just gonna go and put it in park so we don't move. The camera is pretty nice. You do have the park assist feature in here, or parking sensors. You can turn them on and off. Auto hold and different drive modes. Let's see what happens when you switch the drive modes on this. Okay, so you can have sport, eco, custom. Really nothing changes as far as the display, other than those little lines on top at the bottom. Custom is purple, comfort is blue, sport is red, eco is green. Okay, let's go back to the controller. I like the feel of it, although again, this is not the same feel as you'd get at some of the high-end cars, but the placement of the buttons is really nice. Home, menu, and back, and then you go and turn it. You can zoom in the map, for example. You can go back select different menu options. So really nice, really good placement of it. Right in the back of this, you do have your heated ventilated seats for both passenger and driver. You can actually open and close that rear wind screen in the back, and then you also have the heated steering wheel, and that's a dual stage heated steering wheel. And when you press, there's a little button right underneath here. This opens up, and you know, it actually gives you more storage right inside of here. Okay, so decent size, not too crazy. Plus you also have, of course, your glove box. Well, wait a minute. What's this? A phone book encyclopedia? Hey guys, for those young people that don't know what the phone book is, it's a phone book where they listed phone numbers in here. It's pretty cool. You have this feature that you can lock and unlock the trunk. So if you put it in like a valet mode and lock this with the key, believe it or not, you can have a key with this vehicle, even though it's a push to start button. I'll show you the key as a matter of fact, okay, because that's another feature that, you know, I held it in my hand, and I just recently held the Royce and the Aston Martin keys, and while it looks very similar, it kind of feels cheap. Okay, a very similar look to like the Aston key, but okay, so in case you're wondering where this key is, the emergency key is located inside your main key, and all you have to do is you press this button, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it with one hand. Well, that's a test. Can I do it? There you go. I place the camera, you push this, okay, and then you take out a real key, and that's where you can lock in your glove compartment if you'd like to. So there you go, it goes back like this, and then we're all set. So we're done with the interior basically. I'll just take a quick look at the very top of it, and you have some LED lights, and then you have the regular sunroof. Okay, it's not a panoramic sunroof, which I kind of wish it was, but not on this one. All right, so this is the G90 interior. Let's see how this ride rides. Well guys, before we take it up for a spin, see, I had the seat adjusted all the way back, and I go like, okay, I just forgot to show you one of the coolest features that I think this vehicle has. So hopefully we're gonna get it through this camera right here. Okay, we're gonna get this adjusted, and let's see. The button that I showed you right next to the memory seat settings, it says smart. Basically it tells me, hey, put in your height. Okay, so my height, I'm 6 feet, so it says 6 to 6'1". All right, pants inseam length, I guess that's the, I have 32. Okay, weight, it's gonna be nah. Posture analysis, analyzing posture. Okay, outside of the recommended range, so adjust posture. There you go, adjusting to recommended. Look at this, the vehicle is doing it all for me. Okay, now you are in the recommended posture. I gotta tell you, okay, so if you want it to be a little bit out, I wonder if it does have this cool dude settings. Now this is the old man settings. Okay, you drive like this, okay, and it says you are in the recommended posture, but I want to see if I can get here, and I can't. All right, let's go to the gangsta mode right here. Put your hand on the steering wheel. It says outside of the recommended range. Well, too bad, Genesis, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, it's a pretty cool feature because it adjusts the seat. We've seen that in the Mercedes-Benz also, kind of a similar thing. You can adjust it to your liking. But let's talk about the price a little bit on the G90, because that could sway people towards the G90 or maybe against it if you didn't like it. So as I said, it aims to compete with the Mercedes-Benz, BMW and the likes, Audi. So those vehicles, when you get the starting point, especially like with Mercedes-Benz, is just over $100,000, and similar with the A8 and the BMW 7 Series, they're going to be in the 90s and above. Now the G90, it does start. We'll see, the rear-wheel drive, the G90 3.3T, okay, is starting at $72,950, and then if you want a G90 5.0, which is the V8 420 horsepower, you are looking at $76,700. If you really wanted to pimp it out and wanted to go all-wheel drive, $75,450 on the 3.3 and $79,200 on the 5.0. So let's load it all up. Let's get the 5.0, let's say, and see if we can get every feature that is possibly available on this. On the 5.0, I guess the ultimate is the standard with it. So you have the rear seat entertainment with dual 10.3-inch screen monitors, which we had this 14-way power right rear seat and 12-way power left rear seat, which we don't have on this one, but that would be cool. So if you look at this, $80,245, and that's all in, plus tax, title, license, of course. And then if you wanted to add a couple of different accessories, you can, like the first aid kit and the cargo mat, trunk mat, which we've seen in this one, premium grade floor mats. Oh, I wonder if they're as plush as in the Rolls-Royce, which were the plushest floor mats that I've seen on the vehicle. Okay, so finish summary. If you went all in, $80,245,000. I gotta tell you, when I test driven a Mercedes S580, which was an 8-cylinder equivalent to it, wasn't even equipped to the max as you would with this one, and it was $130,000. So you do have $50,000 more for a similarly equipped Mercedes-Benz. BMW is going to be slightly cheaper, as well as Audi, but that's still, in that category. Now you're also looking at the LS series Lexus, which if you opted out, probably still gonna give you about probably $10,000-$15,000, maybe about $100,000 for the fully equipped one, but that's still $20,000 more. Let's see how this 3.3 liter turbo 365 horsepower is gonna drive. Before we do that, we already checked out the rear view camera, but I want to see how this vehicle turns. And I gotta tell you, I have driven it in this parking lot before, and I had to make some tight turns, and I was very nicely surprised. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parking spaces, give or take, to flip this vehicle around. And one thing that also is very important when you're looking at the luxury sedan is the quietness, and I think that Genesis done a great job on making sure that that's very nice, quiet interior. There's hardly any noise coming out from outside. We're close to the Air Force Base, and there's choppers flying back and forth at all times. We also have the landscapers that were outside, with the weed whackers and all kinds of stuff. So there were a lot of noise coming out, and I couldn't hear anything on the inside. That's very nice insulated. The cabin feel, it feels luxurious. It doesn't feel as luxurious as Mercedes-Benz or BMW. So certainly, there's the difference right here. And we're gonna check out the driving dynamics where the road opens up, so I can open it up a little bit. As far as the sound system, the Lexicon sounds great, 17 speakers. As far as the features, definitely you can't beat it. But is it as prestigious as the S-Class or the Audi or the BMW? And my answer would probably be no, not as much. However, it definitely fits in the same category, maybe just at the very much of a lower end. This vehicle also feels very comfortable. Now, it doesn't have suspension that can be manually adjusted, but it does have this adaptive suspension that kind of controls the roll and the bumps on the road, which is nice. It kind of feels more, it feels definitely more like a Lexus than like a BMW, so it's a lot softer, which is a good thing. You don't feel much bumps. Let me put it in the sport mode, and here I'm in the eco mode right now, but I'm going to put it in the sport mode and see if there's any difference. Well, the gears switched automatically, so that just tells me that there's a different configuration of gears as far as the way they switch. The steering wheel, it's still very light, and it's a very light steering wheel, by the way. The steering is awesome. Okay, here you go. We're gonna go right here. I'm gonna gun it. Okay, 60. So here, I like that it does have the capability to go quick. It's not fast. It's definitely, you know, the 3.3. I wish it was the V8. This one, you gun it. Yeah, it goes. But the fun from driving is definitely not as much as on the high-end ones. I've driven the S500 and the S580, so both 6 and 8 cylinder one, and even the 6 cylinder, I think it's a lot more fun to drive than this. Now, with that said, I mean, okay, so you got to figure this out. What do I want from the car? Do I really care about the 0 to 60? Do I really care about, you know, the fun to drive? Or am I gonna just take it to work and back? Am I gonna be like the person that wanna, you know, drive in comfort? How many people drag race those cars on a daily basis? How many people race from light to light? Not too many, right? So, you know, spending $80,000 for the fully equipped one, or $75,000 maybe like this is equipped, that this one is optioned out, which, by the way, I'll put in the description of this video, is a lot of savings, you know, versus a comparably equipped Mercedes. Not to mention the warranty. It does have the Hyundai Kia warranty with a 10 years, 100,000 miles powertrain warranty. You can't beat that. And certainly for the $50,000 that you have left over between this and the Mercedes, you can buy a C-Class to get your Mercedes fix out of the way. It's a great vehicle. It's an awesome driving machine. I just don't think I would put it in the same category as the high-end ones. But definitely do check it out if you're looking for something that's luxurious and you definitely want to break your bank. That would be a vehicle to look at. So check it out, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope you liked that. If you did, check out the rest of my channel. Consider subscribing. Really means a lot to me. It doesn't cost you anything. And I will see you in my next video. Cheers.